Hey guys, we're back with the Longnose again. I left it up because Andy wanted to get footage of it and he couldn't make it yesterday, so we're going to do the initial part of the video over again so that he can get some good footage, and then we're also going to try a few new things. So it's, again, for those who haven't seen the previous video, it's a Emerson Longnose from 1931 with a reversible shaded pole motor. Model number, what was it, 48641, I think. Whatever I put in the title of the video is going to be what's correct. I'm going from memory because it was hard to see the tag yesterday. And it's all original except for the reverse switch. And these bolts don't look original to me, but they're what came with it. Everything else is original. And one thing we noticed today when we were getting ready was that when I put the new reverse switch in, I wrapped the wires in tape because they were rather frayed, and I wanted to use heat shrink tubing, but I couldn't find a lighter, so I used tape. And it appears that one piece of tape has come loose and is brushing against the rotor, so you hear a slight, like a whirring sound of the tape rubbing against the rotor. So at some point I'll probably redo it with heat shrink, which is what I originally wanted to do. But it doesn't affect the performance in any way, it's just slightly annoying. So let's try it on the original 3 speeds from the factory. Let's start with low, I believe. You can kind of hear the whirring of it contacting the tape.
So low is 3?
3, yes. It goes...
It has an indicator in the... kind of like the Dayton Lasco.
That's exactly what I compared it to. The smarter thing to compare it to would be the Sidewinder, because that's from a similar era.
Oh yes, and it also has something like that.
Right. Go ahead.
I'm thinking that's how Hunter labels the speeds on their remote controls too. Low is 3, medium 2, high 1. That's
pretty common. High is usually 1 for most. The Dayton Lasco is the odd one out in this case, that high is 3. So, speaking of which, off, high, medium, which is 2. I'm very annoyed at the tape. I did everything I could to try to dislodge it without taking the fan down, but it wasn't worth taking the fan down. So let's go to high. Off. High is 1.
This is one where I want to get up on the ladder and get the view from above.
Oh, okay. You want it while it's on high or while it's spinning down?
You can leave it on high for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, so this has pretty steep blade pitch and also fairly wide blades.
Yep.
So it goes more for the blade surface and pitch than it does for speed.
It's pretty fast too, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm terrible at judging RPM. I would assume that's around 200 RPM.
And it is one of the reverse-pitched clockwise rotating fans, correct?
Which I really like. I have a special place in my heart for reverse clock fans. You ready to spin it down?
Sure.
Okay.
It has once again successfully confused the focus on my camera.
Yeah. I was pointing out in my video yesterday about this design here, which is with the plain, almost builderish vents and then the little ornate ring around the side, and that was something that much like the Fernleaf design, almost every single 80s manufacturer copied at some point. and I was saying I didn't know who was the first to copy that design. It was either Key Largo or Homestead. But just about every manufacturer had. Other thing that I stated in yesterday's video, and I'll restate today, is I can't remember, but I believe one of these makes an appearance in the movie Casablanca. And so I charged my viewers, and I'll charge your viewers as well. Okay, we're doing reverse now. Let's do low reverse. High, medium, low. The tape is even worse in reverse.
Scrape.
But I charge my viewers, and I'll charge your viewers as well, to name all of the antiques in the movie Casablanca and their Casablanca equivalent. And I gave one away, the obvious one. There's a fern leaf, so you'd name fern leaf, and then you'd name Victorian. So I hope somebody will take me up on that, because that movie is a very important piece of fan history that any fan enthusiast or aficionado or collector should be familiar with. Also, it's a good movie. You've seen it, haven't you?
I've only seen part of it a long time ago.
Really?
I never watched it all the way through.
Having been to film school and all that, I would think that would be something. I know the one film class I took, that was part of the requirement. The fans weren't enough to keep you captivated?
Apparently not. And it wasn't so much a film school that I went to as a technical television production, so there was quite a bit less emphasis on film.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the proper term.
Come on,
I knew
focus.
it wasn't literally film, but...
The school that says you really need a manual focus on your video camera because this is annoying.
Well, it's a good thing you took that class. Otherwise, you might be annoyed right now.
You think?
Yeah.
Alright.
It's amazing because you can watch my whole video yesterday and the thing is just whisper silent, and now there's all kinds of noise from the one little piece of tape. Like, if it wasn't such a hassle to hang this, just simply because it's so heavy and the canopy is so big, that's the only reason why I wasn't like, let's just take it down and fix it. But before I hang it again for any reason, obviously that'll be rectified. Let me know when you're ready for it to spin down.
Go ahead.
Okay, now it's because of the modifications to the control, I have to do this differently. Let me see here what's going to be the best way to do it. I'll just unplug it down here. So what I did, because there's no factory capacitor-based wall control that is of ideal values for this, that I know of, I have taken my Fastgo 4-speed control and I have wired a 10 microfarad capacitor in parallel with it. So that means when the Fastgo control is set to off, it is now 10 microfarads. When it is set to low, instead of 5, it is now 15. You just add 10 to everything. Except the high, which will be a direct short, so... Coffee.
Sounds like a flock of birds.
Yeah, there's a bird in my coffee cup. Okay, I'll reverse it. Now, I don't expect it to... No, I'm not even going to bother. We know it's not going to do anything at 10 microfarads. So I'm going to set it to 15 microfarads, which is the factory... what am I saying? It's not factory anything. This is the controls low, which is 5, wired in parallel with a 10 microfarad capacitor, so they add. And you'll see it's slowly creeping to a start. Another thing I mentioned yesterday is that reversible shaded pole motors in general, but reversible shaded pole motors especially, suck at starting torque, especially at lower speeds. So that's with the control. Let's move up to the next speed. This will be 10 plus 10. This will be 20. Okay, I'm going to move up one more. This will be 15 plus 10. This will be 25. Okay. And then high for reference. Okay, I was trying to think if there's any other control I should wire a capacitor in series with to try the values. Because it honestly, based on those tests there, it could stand to go higher than 25, but the only other one I do have that 8, 12, 20. We could make that a 18, 22, 30. Let's do that. Why not?
Why not?
So I'm going to set my camera down. Are you going to need the ladder for anything, or can I use it as
Go
my camera stand?
Go ahead for now.
This way you can keep filming. I'll just set the camera down using my high-tech camera stand that I got from you.
Yes.
I never even use these towels because I don't.
It's the perfect camera stand diameter.
Exactly, and I'm scared that if I use them, then I will no longer have. So you've taken one off here a couple times, and each time I've cringed, but I haven't said anything because it's your roll of towels. So what do I look like saying something?
Right.
Like an asshole.
There's your problem.
Things an asshole would say.
All right. Well, I think we're okay here.
So I've got to do a little surgery here.
Okay.
We're going to disconnect. I'm unscrewing the one wire that doesn't need to be disconnected. Yeah, I'm going to go home, and hopefully by the time I get home I'll remember I'm going to buy that thing we talked about.
Uh-huh.
I just have to remember to do it. Doesn't the 10 microfarad capacitor. Again, it's the opposite of a resistor. You wire it in parallel to add. Resistors you wire in series to add. Capacitors you wire in parallel to add. And in both cases, the math is slightly more complicated if you do it the other way around. Capacitors in series, I can't even remember specifically the equation. I've used it, but I would have to look it up. It's like 1 over 1 plus thing divided by something. I don't know. Resistors in parallel is easy if they're the same value, and if they're different values, it also gets complicated. So we're going to start it on 4, which was 8, but will now be 18. So it'll be a slightly faster, lower speed than the last custom control. And yet, for whatever reason, it doesn't want to start. Wonder why that is. Let's give it a little push. And drop it back down. This is 18. It's drawing 1.02 amps. Okay, let's go up to 22, drawing 1.3 amps. Okay, let's go up to 30. Drawing 1.93 amps. Yeah, what this fan needs, if you were to build a control for it, is 30 seems like it's a perfect like medium-high speed. Because then let's compare it to high.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 30 is perfect. So what you need is one that has 15 for low and 30 for high. But that doesn't make sense, because the only way to get two 15s wouldn't do any good, because then your medium low would be the same as your low, so that wouldn't work. What's two numbers that add up to 30? No, you just have to do three separate capacitors. There'd be no way to do it with okay, let's spin down. There'd be no way to do it with you could do 15. I guess I have to go back and look at the video and see what like would be a good medium-low speed. 20 or 25.
It has a pretty quick initial deceleration on the spin down, and then it kind of coasts for a while at about here, and then it has a sort of abrupt stop.
I swear I said something very similar to that yesterday, although yesterday the abrupt stop wasn't there because the tape wasn't there. The abrupt stop is thanks to the tape, I'm pretty sure. Because yesterday it had the quick initial and then would spin down forever. But I think the abrupt stop is the resistance of the tape. I don't know.
That's possible.
If I could find a lighter here, then after we got done with this video, I'd take it apart and fix it today, just while I'm thinking about it, so that it doesn't sit unfixed. But I don't. If I had a lighter here, I would have done heat shrink tubing in the first place, unless I can turn one up today that I couldn't turn up before. But in any case, that's Longnose Part 2, or Part 1 if you're watching Andy's channel.